been a while since I've done a review, but I want to do a review of the Fluke 101 pocket multimeter. So I've used this for about 2 weeks, and I'm going to tell you what I like about it and what I don't like about it. Spoiler alert, I honestly am not as big of a fan of this meter as I am of the other meter I have. This is the meter I've been using for about 1.5 years. It's gotten a lot of use. It's a Harbor Freight Ames Instruments DM600, 3.5 digits, 10 amp current. It does, AC/DC voltage, temperature, both Celsius and Fahrenheit, the usual diode check, resistance, and continuity, microamps, milliamps, and then amps, current for all 3 of those. And then you've got some stupid battery things that I never use. And this is a good, pretty rugged multimeter that I've been using for the past 1.5 years, and I like it. I use the continuity function all the time, and what I like about it, let me get that in frame, is it's instant. You can hear it when I do that. You can hear it when I do that, which really helps if you're looking around on a board and you're trying to like swipe your probe across the chipset just to see if you have a connection somewhere. That's awesome. All right. So like I said, I've already used this meter for about for about 2 weeks. So, but I'll put it back in the box so you can see how it comes in the box. So you don't get much with this thing. I was hoping it would come with a carrying case. This meter usually goes for about $45. I think I paid $25 for it. It was on sale, and it came with a carrying case and a thermocouple and these probes. So yeah, pretty good deal for this. It also has non-contact voltage, but I never use that, and I think that those things are dangerous anyway, so not something I would say you need, but if it has it, whatever. I just don't use it. Okay, so you get the meter itself, you get some probes, and you get a really, really thick manual. Although the thing about the manual, nobody reads the manual anyway, yeah, but the English section is that long. It's like in every language where I think Fluke has a market. The manual's in every language where Fluke has a market throughout the world. Okay, yeah, so you get the box, you get this, weird holographic sticker, whatever that means. I ordered this from Amazon. I think it was about $50. It's the cheapest, new Fluke multimeter you can buy. Like I said, you get the probes and you get the meter. So let's take a look at the probes. I do like that they're nice and long. They're not super short. They're not too long either, though. But yeah, I do like that they're nice and long. Makes it often easier to use the meter. You could put the meter, set it up somewhere and then kind of get a little bit more distance from where you have it set it up. I've got them. Okay, now they're untangled. Yeah, I'd say they're about, maybe 4 feet long, 3 or 4 feet long. I mean, they're Cat 2 1000 volt rated probes. So, I mean, what are these rated at? I always forget. 10 amps, Cat 2. 1000 volt rated. So that's for those two. And these are also rated for 10 amps. Now I have not looked at the conductors in here, but generally when you look at these, I guarantee that there's not much wire in here. Although it doesn't really matter. I mean, I guess you get I guess your resistance measurements might be a little bit less, a little bit more accurate. But anyway, yeah, so this meter has some things that my other meter does not. First of all, it's 4 digits. My other one is only 3.5. Every other multimeter I've ever owned is only 3.5. So that's actually kind of nice. Although, I mean, an extra digit, an extra half a digit really isn't going to do you that much better good. So AC and DC voltage are two separate things, whereas on this one, they're on the same setting, just voltage, and then you have to select between them. I can't decide which one I like more. Sometimes it's more convenient to have a, have it go like just pushing a button to switch between them instead of having to turn the knob. It has millivolts AC for whatever reason. I don't know why you wouldn't have millivolts DC as well. And then there's the typical resistance, diode check, and continuity. And that's your function. That's your, switching between mode button, and that's your hold button. It has capacitance, which this meter does not have. And it also has duty cycle and frequency, which is also this meter does not have. I do like it. Does fit in the pocket fairly well. It's nice and thin compared to this one, which is nice. No current on this one. If you want one with current, they make one that's pretty much the exact same size, but it's they make one that's the exact same size, but it's $100. It's kind of, I didn't want to spend $100. Anyway, this one has current, but I've only ever used the current maybe 6 times throughout the whole time that I've had it. So I didn't, I already have a meter that can do current. And often when I'm doing stuff with the multimeter, I always like to have a multimeter with me. No matter what I'm doing, I always have one in my backpack. My backpack goes with me to school and other, wherever. Some places I don't take it, but I always have a multimeter in there. It's the cheap Harbor Freight $7 multimeter, but when you need it, it gets the job done. It's a multimeter, and if I need to troubleshoot something on the fly, it's great to have. Anyway, yeah, so this is nice for, some of the small troubleshooting things that I use a meter for. Because I use meters a lot, for all kinds of stuff. So it is nice to have more than one meter, and it's also nice to have, but I also don't need current, because most of the time when I'm doing the testing things, I'm checking voltage, or I'm checking continuity, or I'm checking resistance. That's about it. It's about all I do. So I didn't really need something with current. Yeah. Now, one of the things that I've always thought that I always have never liked about Fluke is their prices are always they're ridiculously expensive compared to what you can get the same thing from another company for much cheaper. Like comparing Fluke and Bryman. You can get a Bryman multimeter for a quarter the cost, and it has all of the same functions as the Fluke, and it has the same specifications as the Fluke. So it is really ridiculous, the prices that they have. The problem is that I know that there's a lot of other people who feel the same way, but it feels like online there's a lot of people who say, well, if you don't have the Fluke, then you're not a professional, and anything else but a Fluke testing mains is going to be dangerous. First of all, I've tested mains all the time with this meter, and it works just fine. It's Cat 3, it's Cat 3 rated for a reason. 600 volts. Cat 3 is 600 volts rated. They wouldn't be able to put that on there if it wasn't Cat 3 rated. So it is Cat 3 rated. You're gonna be fine testing mains with it. I do not believe the crap that people tell you about how it's not, anything else but a Fluke is, you're gonna get yourself killed or whatever. No. And the only reason I bought it is because I kind of wanted to test and see how good Fluke is. And I have some disappointments. So let's plug in the probes, and I will show you a couple things here. All right. So the display is a little small, but that's what you'd expect from a pocket multimeter. The other thing is it doesn't have a stand, which is kind of annoying, but also not a deal breaker. Yeah. Anyway, so you have you have your different modes. Let's go into this mode here, though. We have resistance. Now resistance is probably fairly accurate on this meter. Yeah, point. What is that? It keeps dropping. 0.1 ohms on the probes. Now it dropped to 0. Anyway. And then we have continuity and diodes. So let's test the continuity. Compare that to the Ames Instruments meter. The Ames Instruments meter is instant. The Fluke is not. And that is one of the things that I would expect from a Fluke, is for it to be instant like that. Because I've seen their other meters, their higher end meters, do that. Why would your lower end meter not also be able to do that? I find that kind of annoying. It should beep every time I do that, and it's only beeping about maybe 50% of the time. Maybe even less than that. It should be instant. Like I said, it is nice to have capacitance, and it's nice to have like frequency. I don't know that I would ever use frequency. I probably use capacitance more often than I would use frequency. Capacitance is weird because it appears that it's only in the nanofarad range. You can't go down to picofarad. And you can't, yeah, you can't go down to picofarad, and it goes up to microfarad, but I can't find any documentation telling me exactly what its range on a capacitance is, which is kind of annoying. This one is also Cat 3 600 volt rated. Nice. You know, I'm not going to be doing any work that I would need anything with a higher rating. I wouldn't need anything that's Cat 4. Cat 4 is 1000 volt rated. I do like how small the meter is. Like I said, it fits in like the pocket of my cargo shorts or my jeans fairly well. So I do like that. One thing I don't like as well is the battery, how the battery is held in. You've got this weird spinning thing on the back. I'm just going to use my fingernail. That's always rattling loose, which doesn't exactly like say quality in my opinion. When I hear something rattling around inside of something, inside of an electronic device, I don't really think of it as a quality device. So yeah, that's kind of odd too, that it just rattles around. Another thing that I was hoping with this meter, but unfortunately no, you can't do that. You probably could do it. There's 3 meters in this series. This is the 101. There's the 106 and the 107. The 106 and the 107 have current to 10 amps. Although this would be fairly easy to add current to if you wanted to. All you need is a current shunt resistor. Here, I'll go get one and I'll show you. Okay. Here's the current shunt resistors I have. So I keep some in this little box, and then I have these two. These are 10 ohms, and they're 100 watts each. So if you need to measure something that's really high, energy load, then that works pretty well. Then I have these, and I have these. I have mostly ceramic, and then I have one of these ones with the heatsink on it. If I can get them out of here. This one is 10 ohms, 10 watts, 10 ohms, 20 watts. We'll get to that one in a minute. 0.2 ohms, 5 watts, and 1 ohm, 10 watts. Even though it says 10 ohms on the side, I made a mistake with that one. And this one is 1 ohm, 50 watts, because it's got the heatsink on it. And these are really expensive. I got this one from the engineering lab at Cinema State just because I needed one. I found it, and I was like, sweet, I don't have to buy one. Anyway, but yeah, you could use this, and you put it in series with your load, and then you're good to go. The same way you would put your meter in series with the load, and then you measure the voltage across it with the meter. Pretty simple. It might be more convenient to have it in the meter, but you could still do it. It's not like these resistors are super expensive either. I mean, this is probably like 10, 15 bucks. Not bad, and it lasts forever. Unless unless you're dumb enough to put a ton of power through it. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, you could still measure current with it like that. I do like that it doesn't have any, gimmicks like the NCV tester, or, non-contact voltage tester, or a transistor tester, or, that stuff. I do like that it doesn't have any of those gimmicks. But wrapping up, overall, I'm kind of disappointed. I was expecting a bit more from this. I don't like that the continuity function is slow. I don't like that, I don't like that it's $50 when I could get this, which is 3.5 digits. I get that this is 4 digits and this is 3.5, so there is a difference there. But I could have, I could have paid. I could get something for like this for $5 less, and I get more. I get a carry case, I get a thermocouple, I get probes. I get everything that I would need. It's kind of annoying that you could just get the probes and the meter with this. It's not that expensive to make the little carry case to put it in with it and throw it in with it. What else can I say about it? Oh, yeah, so what I was trying to say before is you can get the 106 and the 107. They both have current. I don't remember what the difference is between them. But a lot of Fluke multimeters, the ones that don't have voltage, the ones that don't have current, or the opposite, they don't have voltage, you can, oftentimes they use the same board, so you could just hack it to be that meter if you want to. You could add the contacts on the knob to make it that meter, and add the connections. This you can't do with that. This one, I opened it up and couldn't see I couldn't figure that out. Now, whereas the 106, you could probably hack the 106 to be the 107. Like I said, I don't remember what the difference is between them. The 106 is about 80 bucks, and the 107 is about 100 bucks. And that's still it's very expensive for a multimeter, I think. When I could get something that's the same thing or better for cheaper. It's not worth it, in my opinion. Even if you're a professional, it's not worth it. A cheaper item can do the same thing. It doesn't make sense. So let's do a tear down, and we'll take a look at the inside of both. All right, let's tear these down. Got some parts trays. These are 3D printed. I got a 3D printer finally, so I'll have a review for that at some point soon. I'm hoping. It's the Creality Ender 3 V2. We'll see how soon I can get the review out for that. Okay, so let's get a parts tray. These are designed. I designed these too, and the holder for them. All right. I'm gonna do a time lapse while I take this apart. Okay, got it apart. Let's take a look at it. Now, right off the bat, one thing I do really like, the banana jacks are really well made. You can see that they have the they have like a metal port. They have this thick metal on the back. That's nice. You don't usually see that with banana jacks. They usually skimp out and they just use sheet metal for the whole thing. So that is really nice to see. I do really like that. Now let's take a look at some of the other, what else we have going on here. The display I also like, so I know that they're not expecting people to take this apart. Most people aren't going to take theirs apart. But the display is actually kind of held to the board. It's not a stupid zebra stripe. I hate those zebra stripes. And then you have to, and then you're trying to get it back on. Good luck. Anyway, also we have a plastic front on the display, and then the top also we have a plastic portion, so it really protects the display quite a bit. We have a blob on board. That's a chipset, obviously. Probably custom. Fluke tends to do that. They have their own custom chipsets. They have the buzzer there. It's a little quiet for my taste. I would like it to be a little bit louder. We have a clock crystal. This is a, yeah, we get a capacitor. These are either, what are those? Oh, these are, I think they're metal oxide varistors. RT, whatever that is. Not really sure right now. There's where your battery contacts go on. Not really much else to it. They did lube up the wheel pretty good there. That's nice. Yeah, not a whole lot to it. Got a resistor divider here, and got this giant resistor here. Probably rated for quite a bit of power. I do like, what I do like about this one is that it does use 2 AAA batteries. All my other meters have used 9-volt batteries, so that is nice. Because if you kill the batteries, at least you're not going to have to go hunting around for a 9-volt battery. AAA batteries are much more common to find. The other thing is that this meter, it has an auto shut off. I don't remember what the time for the I haven't figured out what the time for the auto shut off is yet. The Ames ones also has a auto shut off, but it's 10 minutes. And I know that because it says it on there, but I think I've also measured it. Yeah, so I'll reassemble it, and then I'll take apart the Ames one, and we'll take a look at that one. Okay, so we have the Ames taken apart, and right away you can tell that there's a lot more going on here than in the Fluke. Now, for one, I'm not going to take the front off because the display, I don't want to mess up the wheel. The wheel's not going to be held secured the same way that the Fluke is. So I don't want to lose any of the ball bearings or anything, but you can see this side just fine. I think the only thing that's on the other side anyway is the wheel contacts. So in this one, you got the beeper there. The beeper's actually smaller, but it's louder. Blob on board as well. That's probably a generic chipset. Clock crystal. Got some fairly beefy resistors there. We got some metal oxide resistors there. This is part of the current shunt, I'm pretty sure. We got your current shunt right there. That, for people who aren't in the know, the current shunt is what actually measures the current. That's a resistor, pretty much. Because the way that we measure current is that you put it across a resistor, and then you measure the voltage across that resistor. And then you use Ohm's law. Got your 10 amp fuse and your 400 milliamp fuse. Now, one thing I will say is that the build quality on this is probably not as good as the Fluke. The plastic is a little bit thinner. It's not as, I don't think it's as good of quality plastic. So the Fluke will probably withstand being dropped, but this also has the rubber skin on it to help, absorb those things. Yeah, like I said, it does feel cheaper than the Fluke. Definitely, the plastic's a little bit, more flimsy and all that. But overall, it works. and it has about the same specs as the Fluke. The Fluke is probably calibrated. Actually, the Fluke is calibrated. They usually calibrate all of their instruments, no matter how cheap they are. Whereas this is probably not calibrated. But for the person who's going to be buying the Fluke 101, I don't think it being calibrated is going to matter. I really don't think it matters. Because the people who are going to buy the 101 are going to be people who are work as an electrician or whatever, and you're really not looking for accuracy when you're an electrician. You just want to know like an average, like, just is there voltage there most of the time, and what voltage might that be? I don't need voltage accurate down to the millivolts. I need all I need is accurate to a volt. That's it. If you're an electrician, it's not something that you need a ton of you don't need that super good accuracy. And the way that this meter goes together is a little bit, it's like clamshell. That one is a little bit different. But like I said, it works. It does not have threaded inserts for the what am I trying to say? It does not have threaded inserts for the actual taking the thing apart, but for the battery, it does have threaded inserts. This one runs off of a 9-volt. Now, I do understand why you would want to run one of these off a 9-volt, because chances are your chipset is going to be using 9 volts, or at least 5, and then your op amps and things are also going to need about that, are going to need a higher voltage. 3 volts isn't going to do it. So you need some sort of circuit to step up that voltage. So that can be kind of the reason why a lot of multimeters just don't use two AA's or two AAA's or whatever, because 9 volts is just easier. It uses less power. You don't have to have all these step up. You don't have to have a step up circuit and all that. All right. And the orange skin on this is actually held on with the battery plate. And the battery back is also the same as with the stand. So there you go. So overall, I'm gonna have to say it. I don't think that this meter is worth it. I do not think it's worth the price. And because I think that you can get something better or equivalent. Actually, you get something equivalent or maybe even a little bit better for cheaper. It's not worth the price, in my opinion. It is well built. It is, it is well built. It's a Fluke. They claim that they have some sort of lifetime warranty. I kind of highly doubt that, especially considering that this is one of the Chinese models. Some of the higher end models are still made in the U.S. or somewhere other than China, but the lower end models are made in China. So I highly doubt that you'll get that lifetime warranty. But yeah, overall, I'm gonna have to say, don't buy it. There's better options out there. I don't really have any better options off the top of my head right now, but I'm sure you can find them. For the person, like I said, for the person who's going to buy this meter, it's not worth it. The people who are going to buy this meter are like electricians or all that. You don't need something, maybe if you're an electrician, you buy this, but most electricians prefer something with a current clamp or a current fork on it. They're just not, they're not going to buy something like this. Maybe an electrician will buy this, and they'll probably buy it for its rigidity. But if you're an electronics enthusiast, don't buy it. Not worth it. There's better options out there for cheaper. But yeah, like I said, electrician or someone who really needs the rigidity, I would say that this meter is worth it. Other than that, it's not worth it. Don't buy it. So there you go. I'm hoping to have the review of the Creality Ender 3 out soon. I'll let you know I'm still playing around with it, trying to get some experience with it. So probably another week or two before I'm actually have used it enough to say that I'm going to do a review. I plan to compare it against at the Makerspace at Cinema State. They have an Ultimaker S5, an Ultimaker S3, and Lulzbot Mini first generation. So I'm probably going to try to compare it against those, and we'll see what happens. But yeah. So I hope that was a decent review, and I hope that people found that useful. See you on the next one.